did mention that he wanted to come to where I was, and she was like, oh yeah, we could all just hang out. And I'm like, girl, you are not about to have me end up unsnapped. No, ma'am. No, I was not involved with this man in any way, shape, or form when I was a minor. He didn't want to deal with the traffic. So I'm like, okay, so you sent her? Then I'm like, but she went? So he sent you to the place to go send me the money? But alright, fangirl, whatever. If you have an idea how old I am, just a slight idea, you know exactly what I'm saying. Hey lovies, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've done a story time, and so this morning when I remembered this experience, I said, you know what? I have to share this one because you know how you live through something or you experience something and it seems okay. It seems like, okay, might be a little bit odd, but then after you've done it and after you get to really sit like from the outside looking in, you're like, what? Did that really happen? And so that's what happened to me this morning. And I was like, no. So, if you are new here, my name is Shan. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you'll watch a couple of videos, get to know me more, catch up on some old content, and let's get acquainted. If you have been here before, thank you for coming back, and I look forward to having you as a part of my family. I was maybe, I don't remember, but I know I was very young. So I met this guy. I met him through someone else, right? And eventually we started dating. Now, dating would be long distance for us. So he was in another country and we started talking, we hit it off. He was cool and he was really kind. He treated me kind, but apart from that, he was spending his money. I've never had to ask this man for nothing. He would just call me up randomly and say, hey, are you okay? How are you on spending money? And he would just send me money. So I don't even know if there were red flags, but I was young. I wasn't looking for red flags. I was doing what young people do. And again, it was so easy because he lived in another country. So for me, it was like, okay, you must genuinely care about me because we're not doing any exchange of anything. He's not expecting anything in return. He was genuinely taking care of me. I remember when the BlackBerry Storm was coming out, that phone was, oh, everybody was like, oh yeah, new, the touch screen. I hope you remember. It's a long time ago. These young people don't know what I'm talking about, but remember that if you never had it, you might have seen it. The touch screen, the very first touch screen BlackBerry. That might have been the only one. I don't even remember. But anyways, this man sent me the money to get the phone because I was going on about the phone. And he's like, yeah, you want to get it? Sure. I said yes, and he sent me the money. I went and I got the phone cash. Now I'm just sharing the backstory so you know how far we're coming from, right? And that's what it was for a number of years. There were seasons when we didn't talk. I don't know what happened. If I don't know. Thinking about it now, I have no idea. But for some reason, we always reconnected. Either I was single or something, but we always reconnected. Even when I was in a relationship, there was the understanding, but he was still checking on me. And I'm like, there was no reason to block him or whatever because he was good to me. Fast forward to years later, obviously that was not working out. I don't know. We talked before about me going to where he was, but I don't think I really had a desire because where he lives is not somewhere that I've ever had on my bucket list to relocate to. So that was that. So he traveled. So he would travel not often enough, but when he did, he was also very respectful. We would go out, we would have a good time, and that was it. So fast forward to the point where eventually I was getting older, real life was starting to set in like this kind of relationship is not sustainable. So I don't know if we had a conversation about it, like, hey, this isn't working out, or it just kind of went the natural course. I don't remember. But I do know that we had stopped communicating. We hadn't spoken for years. Ooh, a couple of years ago, we reconnected. So he would have spoken to someone that I know. He said to the person that he's trying to get a hold of me. So the person said, hey, let's call him Bob. Said he's trying to get to you. So I'm like, okay, sure. Because again, the guy was cool at the time. I wasn't in a relationship or anything to say I was going to disrespect my partner. Not that I was looking to get into a relationship with him, but again, I always remember that he was good to me. So us talking wasn't going to pose any problems anyway. So now we are reconnected and we start talking like rarely until the conversations became more frequent. And he's like, I've missed you over the years. I've never stopped thinking about you and all that. So now we're talking and everything is cool. So one day we have a conversation and I said to him, he was getting really deep. So I said to him, so you're trying to tell me all this time that you don't have a girlfriend? And he said to me, well, I wouldn't really say it's a girlfriend. There's this person that, and when I heard that, I was like, yep, here we go. He said, but the truth is, she knows. I said, she knows what? He's like, I've told her for a while that I never stopped thinking about you, that I'm in love with you and whatever. So I'm thinking, okay, this must not be his girlfriend or this man is a liar, right? Because what do you mean? What do you mean you told her she knows? Sir, we weren't even together, so there was nothing to tell this woman. Anyway, he tells me about her, tells me her name and whatever, and he's like, it is what it is, we understand. And I'm like, is she married? He's like, no. I'm like, I was like, first of all, that doesn't make sense. But second of all, it's not my business because it's not like we're back together or anything. I don't know how it got to the point where he shared more and more about her until one day we were talking and I'm trying to remember it detailed. I think either there was a special occasion or he just wanted to do something. He said he wanted to send me something. So he asked me like, what do I want? What do I like? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. So he's like, no, think about it. What do you want? Whatever. And I said, well, I guess perfume. Again, I'm not making much of this because obviously he is not involved with this woman or whatever it is, but who cares, right? So I said I wanted perfume. So he's like, what kind of perfume do you want? I gave him the names of the perfume and he said, okay, cool. So this man calls me up one morning and he says to me, someone's going to call you and you're going to let her know which perfume you want and figure out how it's going to get to you. I'm like, what? So he's like, yeah, she's in the US and it's easier for her to get them and send them to you. So I'm now thinking she's in the US. So I said, who is in the US? He said that woman I told you about. I said, the woman that you said is your girlfriend. He's like, I already explained what that is, but I told her it was you and whatever. So I'm like, okay. I was like, first of all, you shouldn't have given her my number. No. He's like, no, 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 hon, it's cool. She's gonna call you. She already has your number and whatever. Guys, this woman calls me within like maybe an hour and she's like, hey Shanice, it's let's say Barbara, right? Let's say Barbara. She's like, hey Shanice, it's Barbara and Bob told me that you wanted some nice perfume and he asked me to get them for you. So I'm like, wait, is this the same Barbara that he told me about or this is another one and this is a joke? So I'm like, hey, yeah, this is very strange, but hi, how are you? And she said, oh girl, you are so beautiful. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah. I said, what? She said, oh, Bob sent me a picture of you. He's always showing me what you look like. You are so gorgeous, girl. And I'm like, no, I'm thinking maybe what you're thinking. I'm thinking, okay, are they in one of those open relationships, kind of by polygamous kind of thing where, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm like, what did he become? Or was he always like that? But I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. But she has this really good vibe about her. So I'm like, okay, this is odd. This is strange. Like, I can pick up on energy sometimes. And the energy that I was getting from her, there was no animosity. There was no, oh, you are the girl that he's been talking about. And based on what she said, he was right about the fact that he said he told her about me and they spoke about it and whatever. So I'm thinking like, what am I missing here? What am I missing? So I saved her number and I looked at her picture, her DP, and I'm like, but this woman is gorgeous. She is gorgeous. Obviously, she's an older woman, but she is beautiful. And I'm thinking, There must be something that I'm missing. What am I missing? I told her, I didn't need you to get me any perfume. To be honest, I didn't even really want perfume. He just asked me, he kept asking, and I said, okay, that's what I want. She said, oh, girl, that's no problem. I'll just get them anyway. I love perfume. And so I'm like, all right, cool. Okay, so I mentioned two perfumes. And she's like, okay, so I'm staying in such and such. I'm staying in such and such. I'm at a seminar. I'm gonna go to the mall tomorrow. I'll call you. And I'm like, okay, lady, please do not call me back. No, at this point, I didn't call him back. I didn't call her, and I was hoping she wouldn't call me. Sure as hell, the following morning, she's video calling me. Hey, girl, it's Barbara. And I'm like, hey, hi, Barbara, friend. Right? And so she's in the store. She's in this perfume store, and she switches the camera and she's like, oh, they have this one. And she's saying to the lady, do you have I don't remember what was the largest size that they had, but she's like, do you have it in this size? And she's like, yeah, yeah, I want the biggest one in both of them. Okay, all right. Anyways, long story short, she did get the perfume. I don't remember. Even when I got the perfumes, I was like, Lord, if this lady is trying to voodoo me through these perfumes, I prayed that you cramp and paralyze. No, I wasn't doing all that. I wasn't that spiritual at the time, but I was really like, God, please, whatever it is that she sent through these perfumes, I ask that you, whatever, right? Now, sis and I become besties. We are good friends now. We are talking. I loved her aura. You could tell that she's a genuinely good person. So I was like, okay, this is strange because at this point, him and I still had not said, oh, we're together or anything. I was also very careful with the conversations that I had with her because I'm like, I don't want her to get the vibe like I want to be with him or anything. So we started talking separately. He's calling me up and he's like, hey girl, how are you? Whatever. So there's this one time, right, that he's hanging out, I think, with his brother. And he had called me and I missed the call or something and I called him back. I don't remember. But anyways, when I called, I could hear her in the background, right? And I was about to say, oh, I was returning your call. But she's like, hey, Shanice, hey, girl, how you doing? I'm like, hey, Barbara, right? He's like, oh, you're on speakerphone. And I'm like, oh, hey. So anyways, I could hear the brother like, come on, what? Is this for real? The brother is losing it because he's like, is this for real? You were here, you're talking to her on the phone, and Barbara is right here. And he's saying to his brother, no, 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 it's cool. Barbara and I has an understanding. And I'm on the phone like, understanding? But anyway, many years ago, before we reconnected, right? He had promised to, I think I had broken my phone. I think that's what it was. And he said he was going to replace my phone. So this was years ago. At this point, when we're reconnected, I don't remember the phone, but he said to me one day, I still haven't forgotten that I owed you a phone. And I said, no, it's cool. My phone now works and whatever. He's like, yeah, but I promised to get it and I still owe it to you. I'm like, it's not that serious. It's whatever. But again, at the time, I wasn't in a relationship. So if you want to send me money to buy a phone, I already told you I don't have this phone. Apparently, you and homegirl here has an understanding, not my problem. Plus, the main thing for me was we don't live in the same country. So I know someone might be saying, so why would you? I don't care. It wasn't going to affect me at all because we don't live in the same country. He lives in the same country with Barbara. They live either together or visiting each other or whatever. Wasn't going to be my problem. So I was like, oh, if you want to send me free money, sure. One morning she calls me up and she's like, hey, Shanice, can you give me your address? I'm like, no, girl. No. So I asked her, why do you want my address? She's like, oh, Bob asked me to send you some money. So I'm at the place right now and they're asking like for your address. So wait a minute here, right? I'm trying to make sense of this. So he sent you to the place to go send me the money. But all right, fine girl, whatever. So I gave her the address. Obviously not my home address, but just the city. That's what they needed. Sent it to her and sure as hell, homegirl sent me the money. I think she sent me $800. And I was like, all right, yeah, thanks. right? And she's like, girl, he told me that he did promise you this phone some time ago, and I told him you should be a man of your word. If you make a promise, you should follow up on it. And I'm like, all right. So at this point, I'm like, okay, so Barbara is genuinely a good person. But what am I missing? There's something here missing from this equation. I knew there was Bob, there was Barbara, and there was me all the way over there. But I'm thinking, where is that missing screw here? She did send the money. And then one day we're talking. She called me to talk about something random. Like, at this point, she's now going to complain about Bob to me. And I was like, oh, child, I did not sign up for this one. I allowed her because I'm like, okay, obviously she's a good person. She was looking for someone to talk to. So now she's telling me some of the issues that she was having with him. And I'm here being counselor trying to get them to sort their issues out. Meanwhile, Bob isn't trying to do none of that. One evening they go out to dinner and she told me, oh, we're going out to eat. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And I'm like, send me pictures because at this point I had already picked her brain because I was trying to figure out if this was a polygamy kind of vibe that they had going on. And she reassured me that that was not the case. She said, oh, girl, don't worry about it. No, it's not like that. I'm not even into that kind of lifestyle. So I'm like, okay. I felt like I was completely clueless because I felt like I definitely should have known what was happening, but I didn't because it didn't make sense because I'm putting myself in Barbara's shoes and I'm like, what would be the reason why I would be okay with this? What would be the explanation why he could tell me about her? I could go shopping for her because she did get me perfume and other stuff too, right? So I'm like, what could be the reason here why I'm willing to go shopping for her? I'm willing to go off to send her the money. I'm willing to do all this. I'm talking to her. Everything's cool. She's like, hey, girl, how you doing? I was doing something at the time. I don't remember what it was, but she was so supportive and she was giving me her 2 cents and and I'm like, wait, huh? So we talked and I'm like, do you have kids? Because now I'm like, what is going on? So she has kids. She has older children, obviously, because like I mentioned, she's older. And so here am I trying to fix things. So they go out to dinner. Barbara's sending me pictures. Oh, this is us. This is what we wore. We went out to eat. And I'm like, what? So I'm thinking, is this like one of those cases where you have to accept what's going on with him so you can be with him? I had no idea because at this point, we're not talking about getting together. Him and I are not talking about that. We're not talking about being together. We are not talking about him. Well, I think he did mention that he wanted to come to where I was, and she was like, oh, yeah, we could all just hang out. And I'm like, girl, you are not about to have me end up unsnapped. No, ma'am. No, I'm sorry. What do you mean? Come on, we're going to just hang out on vacation? No, ma'am. But that wasn't really going anywhere concrete. It was just conversations. So I remember asking him, like, can you tell me what's going on here? What am I missing? And he's like, well, she's known me long enough and I'm a very honest person. I told her exactly what's going on. And he said to me that one of the things that they believe in is being honest with each other and, just telling the truth, whatever that looks like. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. Honesty is fine, but I still don't get it because wouldn't honesty make you say, okay, clearly I don't want to be here, or make her say, okay, this is, but again, I was like, everyone's situation is different, but I felt odd being that person there that, she's checking on me and she's like, hey girl, how you doing? How's your daughter? And I'm like, all right, anyhow, it goes on and I started to feel really odd about the whole thing. I felt bad for her. And at the same time, I felt annoyed with him because I'm like, why would you tell a woman that this is the person I've been in love with for years and you have her sending her out to do your dirty work? Because according to him, the reason why he sent her to go send the money was because the traffic and he didn't want to deal with the traffic. So I'm like, okay, so you sent her? But then I'm like, but she went? Anyways, we'll dive into that shortly. But we ended up having conversations more and more until I realized that she had to have low self-esteem. Like I said, she is, because we haven't spoken for a while, but I'm hoping she's still here. So she's a gorgeous woman. And I kept saying to her, you are so beautiful and your body is so nice for your age and all that. So I started to pour into her because I realized obviously what was missing was this woman lacked self-esteem. So one day we were talking and we are getting more into, I'm like, how did you guys meet? How long have you known each other? What's the understanding between you two? And this woman said to me, they've been together for 14 years. Now, if you've been here before, you know I'm not that old. Okay? You know I'm not that old. So if you have an idea how old I am, just a slight idea, you know exactly what I'm saying. Again, I was not involved with this man in any way, shape, or form when I was a minor. So this woman was with this man for 14 years. So I asked her, like, okay, so what's the end game here? Like, where is this going? Because I told her how long I've known him. And I kind of gave her, because at this point, I'm like, okay, to hell with him, because clearly you're trying to play this woman and clearly she's allowing it. But I was kind of like shifting focus from him to figure out what's going on with her. So I said to her, we dated or we communicated for this length of time and whatever. And she's like, yeah, he told me. He didn't tell me exactly when, but he told me. So I'm like, it's not a case where he knew me first and we dated and then he met her and, huh? And you knew, oh, okay. She started to tell me over the years since him and I stopped communicating, like what it was like. There were different women that he entertained here, different women, whatever different women that she found out about. And I'm like, so what do you do? She's like, that's how we came to, if it is that you feel a particular way or you want to do a particular thing, just tell me. Just let me know how you feel. So I'm like, you gave him permission to play in your face. And she's like, no, it's not like that, but it's better for me to know. So I'm like, okay, Barbara, let's quit this. I get it. You're a good person. You're a genuine person. You have a good heart. Are you really okay with this? And she's like, ideally, girl, no. But if this is what it takes, this is what it takes for what? Let me tell you something. I would not say this man was ugly, but he was not God's gift to woman. Okay, he was not creme de la creme. He was not drop dead. Oh my God, gorgeous. He wasn't like that. He was okay. And I'm looking at this woman, like I said before, she is beautiful, nice skin, nice hair. She has an amazing aura. And I'm thinking, what is the reason? So I'm talking to her and I'm like, girl, I'm sure he's not the only man who would want you. I'm sure there are men who find you attractive. And she's like, yeah, there are. But this is what I've known. And, we have an understanding and he knows me. And I'm thinking like, yeah, he knows you. All right. He knows you're a fool. He knows he can play you and play in your face. Guys, it got worse. What if I told you that I found out that when this woman went and sent me money, it was her money? Did you hear me? I don't know. Let me repeat in case there's anyone in the back who didn't hear me. It was her money. He had this woman driving traffic, okay, because he didn't want to go in traffic. Go join the line to go send me her money. He didn't pay her back. I don't even think he borrowed it. I think he legit said, I need to get some money off to her. Go send her some money.
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
And I was like, there's just no way. There is no way on earth this woman. So I said to her, so the perfume, she's like, yeah, he did say to pick them up for you. Her money. She paid to have them shipped. And anything else that happened during that time when we spoke, any other money that he sent me or whatever, he sent her to do it. So I'm thinking, woo! I started thinking about the whole thing and I'm like, man, there's a saying that the devil knows who to frighten because what? Anyways, I felt so bad for her because I'm like, clearly this woman doesn't think that she deserves better than this. Clearly, she doesn't feel like if she ends it with him, there's anything better for her to get. So, of course, I'm sure you would have guessed it. I stopped talking to him. I don't know, again, I can't remember the details if we had like a conversation and said, hey, I'm going to stop talking to you. But when I found out that it was her money that he had her sending, I felt so bad for her. I was like, okay, I'm done with this. But I didn't cut her off. And so we would talk more and more, and I'm, pouring into her. And I'm like, girl, listen, you are beautiful. You are amazing. You have a beautiful aura. Like, a man out there is waiting to meet a woman like you. Don't feel like this is the end of the road for you. Don't feel like there's nothing better. And I had to say to her, he isn't even all that. And she's like, girl, well, let me tell you, because now she's happy she has an outlet she can vent. She's like, girl, let me tell you, it really wasn't, because in the bedroom it isn't. I'm like, oh, girl, don't get it. I had to be like, hey, I don't want to know. I don't want to know, right? Because sis is about to tell me that he wasn't even doing anything. Huh? Sis was telling me that this happens from time to time, once in a blue moon, occasionally. So wait, he's not spending his money on you. Because I asked her, is he financing you? And she's like, oh no, I think she said she's a nurse. And she's like, yeah, I work at night. And I'm like, wait, so you're financially taking care of yourself. He's not sexually taking care of you. He's playing with your emotions and your mental health, and you have been here for 14 years. What? Man, I spent so many hours talking to this woman, like, hey, you have to love yourself. Like, this is me. I could be her daughter, right? Based on the age, easily. And I had to take on another role. And I'm like, listen, you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be loved the way that you love people. I said, listen, you don't know me. Look at the situation. Look at how you met me. You could have easily hated me because I would have understood why you would hate me. And I'm like, you genuinely pour into me and love on me. And if I posted a picture on my WhatsApp, no one else got a chance to comment before her. She said, oh, look at you. You're so gorgeous. Love the hair, whatever. That's just who she is. And I said, girl, do not allow a man to play with you. He knows you're a good person. He knows you got a good heart. And so he's going to take you for granted. I said, he could not try that with me. And so he's trying that with you. And he knows that the more he does what he does and you don't put a stop to it, he's going to continue to do it. So I was saying to her, listen, you are to be blamed for this. I blame you for allowing this to continue over 14 years. This man never saw you fit to be his wife because he never asked you to marry him. He never claimed you all this time. And then that's when she told me that, before him, she was in an abusive marriage. And when she met him, and I'm like, there you go, there's the problem. And that's why I will forever speak on it until anyone who hears me gets tired of it. How important it is to heal before you enter into a relationship. Because here she is, a battered woman. She meets this man. I'm pretty sure he was charming because he was charming when I met him too. And she feels like, okay, you know what? This is my safe place. I'm just going to stay here forever. Even when it is no longer safe, she's remembering that there was a time when it was safe. And she told me, she's like, my kids don't even like him because they said he's been wasting my time. I said, your kids are right. Your kids could see what you can't see. And I'm here to tell you, this man does not deserve you. You deserve better than that. Long and short is that she did meet someone. She met this guy and she's like, there's this guy that he's been coming at me for a while. And because he was blocking the way, I did not pay the guy any mind. And I'm like, girl, go for it. She sent me the picture of the guy and I'm like, yes, this looks like you, right? I went as far as I did the photo grid thing and I put her picture and I put the guy's picture and I'm like, you see, you guys look good together, not Mr. Other Dude over there trying to play in your face, right? And so she eventually started talking to the guy, and the last time we spoke was just like a check-in, and she was like, thank you so much because the things that you said afterwards, I realized that you were so right. And she's like, this guy treats me so good and he's so respectful. I'm like, yeah, so did you talk to so and so? And she's like, oh no, girl, I cut him off. I told him off and I cut him off, and that was that. And I was like, whoa, yay, yay. So Barbara, I don't even know because Life has a way of working out in a strange way that next thing you know, she comes across my video. So if ever this video comes across you, Barbara, you know your actual given name. I'm so happy for you. I am really happy that you chose to love you, that you chose to walk away from 14 years of absolute chaos. And I'm also happy for myself that I could look beyond what things looked like and realize that this was a woman who just needed someone to pour into her. If you are in a similar situation where you have some man trying to play you for a fool, trying to keep you, string you along, and still keep someone else, girl, back out of it. It is not for you. Well, that was my story time. Very, very crazy, but yes, there are women out there who are like that. There are women out there who depend on men so much for whatever the reason that they will accept just about anything. But I bid you, do not allow it. Do not permit it. Do not aid and abet it. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Do not forget to share and to subscribe if you haven't done that already. And hit the notification bell so that you'll know when I upload another video. Oh, that was thunder. You might have not heard it, but it's raining outside. I hear you. I hear you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.